The New York Knicks are the third ever NBA Cup champions, and I think it's time to just evaluate how the NBA Cup has been now that it's been 3 seasons. So if you want to hear more about that, tune in right after the intro. Thank you for tuning in to podcast number 79 of Sports Talk with JWock. I am your host, Jonah Walkenfoos, and as you heard from the intro, today I'm going to be talking about the NBA Cup in general, but also how basically this third ever time the NBA Cup has arrived and just kind of how it went. So the New York Knicks played the San Antonio Spurs in this year's NBA Cup, and the New York Knicks were crowned the champions of the in-season tournament. Congratulations, you guys won a tournament that really doesn't matter, to be honest. But with all jokes aside, basically, shout out to the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson won the MVP this season for the tournament. He honestly is just the face of that New York Knicks team. It's crazy to think that I believe he's 29 years old. I mean, he's getting up there in age. But he's still going strong, and the way he plays, I mean, I just feel like he's going to last a long time. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of give some, my opinion on the NBA Cup in general and kind of what I think, since now the NBA Cup has happened 3 times now. It feels like it's starting to make more and more sense for a lot of people. If you don't understand it, you can always look up the rules, and I could explain it in a future episode. But yeah, we've seen 3 NBA Cups now. And I'm just going to list the finals and just how the results have been these 3 years. So the first year in the 2023-2024 season, the Lakers played the Indiana Pacers, and the Los Angeles Lakers were the first ever NBA Cup champions, and LeBron James won the MVP of that tournament. That game averaged about 4.58 million viewers, and it peaked at about 5.68 million. So a decent viewership count. I mean, that's definitely a really good viewership count for a single NBA game. But that, I believe, was on ABC when it was when it was aired. So that's interesting to think about. The second ever NBA Cup was the Bucks versus the Thunder in the 2024-2025 season, and the Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA Cup that year, along with Giannis winning the MVP. Go figure. That averaged about 2.99 million viewers. Not as good as the first year. Actually, it took a pretty decent drop, and that's not a good sign if you're Adam Silver, but that year also was really low in viewership count last season at that time, so you also have to keep that in account. Also, the NFL season's going on, let's be real. I don't care about an NBA Cup final. I'd rather watch football. Now, the game was on Tuesday, so it's there's no football anyways, but at the same time, people more are focused on the NFL right now anyways. But this season, like I mentioned, the New York Knicks played the San Antonio Spurs, and Jalen Brunson was MVP. They didn't really list any viewership, but they did talk about the Spurs Thunder semifinals game, and that peaked at 2.34 million viewers. So that's actually really good for a semifinal game in the regular season. Along with the social media views increased by 126%. So in all honesty, it does look like the NBA Cup in general is starting to increase in numbers, especially with viewership. So that's something Adam Silver would love to see. But in my opinion, I just feel like the NBA Cup is just not really something that I get too excited about. Even if the Bulls were the team that won it, I probably wouldn't get that excited, to be honest with you, just because it just feels kind of weird. But let's go into what you win if you win the NBA Cup. So if you win the NBA Cup, each player and the head coach earn over $530,000 per person. That is a lot of money. That is definitely incentive to work for. A lot of these NBA players are already making a lot of money. Maybe the players at the end of the bench aren't, so that's really good for them. And a lot of these players like to give back to their family or the communities, which is always a good thing to see. You always love to see that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what the $530,000 goes to for a lot of these players and coaches. They also get the NBA Cup trophy, which is actually a really big trophy. It looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It looks pretty cool. There's also been talks. I know I'm kind of going off topic here, but there's been talks with Adam Silver where he's possibly going to move the NBA Cup out of Vegas every once in a while and move it to possibly some bigger college venues. So like if they go to some bigger schools, like in their stadiums, maybe it'll draw some extra viewers. I don't know how that's going to work exactly. It's still kind of in the works, I guess. So there's not really much to talk about in that. But let's get back into the earnings that they get. They also get medals. So each player gets a medal. I guess that's pretty cool. You could put in your trophy case, I guess, but nothing too crazy. And then possibly a banner. Here's my thoughts on this. Why would you want a banner for winning an in-season tournament? Like, why? To me, it just doesn't feel like it's anything really good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels weird for that. But the Lakers and Bucks both decided they did want to hang a banner, which I guess go ahead. I mean, personally, if I were the team, I wouldn't want to hang a banner for something that isn't the NBA Finals. But that's just my opinion. But the Knicks actually decided not to hang the banner, and they decided they wanted to focus on bigger things, aka the championship banner, like I mentioned earlier, which I think is the smart move. I think it's the move that everybody should be making. Like, why would you want a banner? I guess it could be like extra motivation, being like, we won this NBA Cup, now let's win the finals, which we haven't seen yet, which is kind of crazy to me. And that's kind of another topic I want to talk about, how the teams that have won the NBA Cup have not. So these two seasons before this have been historically bad in the playoffs. Or not bad, but like they haven't succeeded to the standards that we would have thought. You know, if you win the NBA Cup, you would think, oh, this team might be a team that could be competing for a championship. And then they end up losing in the first or second round of the playoffs. It's kind of underwhelming in my opinion. So that's also why I'm not the biggest fan of the NBA Cup. Just because it feels like, oh, you won the NBA Cup, great. I feel like a lot of the really good teams have already been eliminated. Like the Oklahoma City Thunder made it far, but they lost, and they were a really good team. The Denver Nuggets, in my opinion, are a really good team, and they've already been eliminated. The Detroit Pistons are a really good team. Not as good as the Thunder and Nuggets, but they are a really respectable and good team in the Eastern Conference, and they already lost. So it's like, there's really not much to like say like, oh, this team's going to be really good. I mean, the Knicks are a good team, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like just because you won the NBA Cup does not really make you that respectable, in my opinion. Like, it's not like, oh man, we got to really watch out for them. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but I just want to give a couple more things. I just think the NBA Cup overall just needs better execution. The games right now, or the finals and the playoff format in general, is played on Amazon Prime Video, which a lot of people actually just don't have. And fortunately we did, like my family does. So that was nice to be able to watch some of those games. I didn't even watch some of the games, but like it was nice to be able to watch some of those. But at the same time, I do know a ton of people aren't going to pay Amazon Prime Video just to watch a couple games of NBA basketball, unless it's your favorite team, of course. It just feels kind of unnecessary. I feel like they should move it to like things like ESPN or something, because ESPN is a lot more accessible. They'd get a lot more viewership and probably make a lot more money. So I think it would actually be a win-win. And then you could have players or people like the old TNT crew with Shaq, Kenny, Charles Barkley, and Ernie Johnson being the guys that are talking at halftime show. Who doesn't want that? Everybody loves those guys. Why wouldn't we have that? So I think they should move the NBA Cup from Amazon Prime Video to ESPN, which I also think just in general, with sports in general, we should stop having 400 streaming abilities in games. Like, we should have like a massive streaming ability, like ESPN or something should be the main focus. ESPN, CBS, and Fox. I feel like those three are the main three that should be always, like, you should be able to watch your favorite team play on those games or on those channels, but that's just my opinion. So first up, NBA Cup. Let's move that to ESPN. Let's make it more accessible for more people to be able to watch. It adds more viewership, gets more money into the NBA. and it makes Adam Silver happy. It's a win-win for everyone. And then also, I think it's just weird to celebrate something that isn't the championship. And when I mean championship, I mean NBA Finals. It definitely helps build some confidence with the team, like going, hey, we just won the NBA Cup. I think we can make it further on and possibly win a championship. But to me, it's just weird. It's like, oh, we celebrated. Now we got to go play a game in a few days because we still have about 50 games left of the regular season, and then we have the real playoffs where it actually does matter. So that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below on what you think of the NBA Cup. Personally, I think it's getting better, but I still think it needs a lot of work, and I think there could be better ways to execute, but that's just my opinion. But anyways, that's going to be the end of podcast number 79 of Sports Talk with JWock. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the video. I greatly appreciate it. I also love when you guys talk to me about my episodes, whether that's through comments or if you just come up to me and talk to me about it. I really appreciate it because it just makes me feel like, oh, they actually do really enjoy watching my videos. So I really do appreciate that. I also mentioned this in the last episode, but this is the last episode I will be uploading until after Christmas, because next week I'm going to be spending a lot of time with family and I'm just going to be really busy. I'm not going to have time to upload a video. So I just want to say Merry Christmas to all of you. It's what a great time to celebrate the birth of Jesus. I mean, that truly is amazing. And I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas, and I will see you after Christmas. And in the meantime, I hope you all have an amazing week and Christmas. God bless.